That. Yikes, we have a lot to talk about. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I did say when we came to Mass and we started the Sermon on the Mount with Jesus that this was going to be a challenging couple of weeks. And here we are, right? The first couple of weeks you might have thought, Father, it's not that bad. Well, here we are. You know, this is the day where the Lord is challenging us to be different. I think to really unpack this gospel, you have to go back a little bit, understand what is Matthew doing in the gospel. So again, we are in the Gospel of Matthew, and Matthew is known for writing this for the Jewish people, right? He wants this to really be brought home for them especially. And so a Jewish person listening to this would understand that Matthew is talking about Jesus with Moses in the background. In other words, Jesus is being portrayed as the new Moses. And I'm going to step back because that sun is bright. Whew. Well, we like you. Stay here. So Jesus is meant to be the new Moses. How? Well, Moses, what did he do? After they've left Egypt and they were set free from Pharaoh, Moses eventually goes up a mountain. And he goes up a mountain and he encounters God, which in the Old Testament specifically, every time someone is on a mountain, there's an encounter with God, right? It's a divine experience. And so Moses encounters God, and what does God do? He gives him the law. And he says, now go and bring the law, bring the 10 Commandments to the Israelite people. And so he comes down the mountain, and he gives them the law, the 10 Commandments. These are the things you must do and not do to be in right relationship with God. That's the message from Moses. And so here we have Jesus, who goes up a mountain, and he doesn't need to have an encounter with God because he is God. He doesn't speak with God's authority. He doesn't speak as if God gave him authority because he already has divine authority, again, because he's God among us. So he speaks to the people. Notice he says, I'm not here to change or abolish the Mosaic law. I'm here to fulfill it. I'm here to put words around it, to give it meaning. And so he says to the people, you know, this is what Moses told you to do. But I'm not just worried about not doing bad things. I want your heart. In other words, disciples of Jesus Christ have these types of qualities of heart, and this is what gets them into heaven. That's his message. And so what does that look like for us, right? The progression here is, it's not just exterior acts that matter, it's our interior conversion of well. That's Christ's message in this gospel. So imagine for a moment, you've got an athlete, maybe a soccer player, who is playing soccer, and eventually they get taken out, a nasty slide tackle, and they hurt their ankle. And this person, after the game, you know, takes off his sock, his cleat, and his shin guards, and it's starting to bruise pretty quickly. And it's trying to, you know, push through, and after a couple of days of limping and the bruising gets worse and the swelling is bad, you know what, I have to go to the doctor. Goes to the doctor and discovers after an x-ray, it's not just a sprain, it's broken. Here's why this example makes so much sense for us today. The bruising is like what Moses is talking about, the exterior actions that we do, the actual things we can see. And sometimes we ignore the thing that's underneath, right? And we can't discover the real problem unless we have some instrument, something, some x-ray that reveals that there's a deeper issue here. And this is Jesus' point. It's not just your exterior actions. There's a deeper problem underneath that needs treatment, that needs healing. But the other side of the coin is this. There are also things that we experience in our body that we could never see. We would never know without an x-ray or an MRI. They're invisible. I think of cancer for one. We need something that shows us that this thing is going on underneath. You know what that's like to me? It's, if you've ever thought about this, our sinfulness, and I think I include myself in this, you think, oh, I'm not that bad. I've never murdered anybody. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that most of you haven't murdered anybody. Just guessing. But sometimes we do this. I'm not that bad. I've never murdered anybody. That is the person that needs a spiritual MRI, right? Because maybe there's not an exterior action that's giving us a sense that there's a deeper problem, but there are things that are invisible that we need God's grace to reveal to us, where we need God's help. There's so much in this gospel. There's no way I could talk about it all, right? We've got anger, we've got lust, we've got divorce, we've got keeping and give our promises and making our yes mean yes. There's so much here. What I'm encouraging you to do is to think about the one thing that stuck out to you. Because there might be something that stuck out to someone over here, and it's going to be the opposite thing for someone over here. But whatever that thing was in the gospel, that is the place to take Christ X-ray to your soul. Allow Christ to shine that X-ray on your soul, and with his grace to help you receive the healing that we all need. We all need. That's the thing that God wants to help you in interior conversion today. Because all of us need it. Every one of us here. We have that thing that God wants to help us today.